in Turkey, in northern Syria, things are still, taking place. It's a very fluid situation. The bottom line, Turkey has been using far right groups, suicide bombers, terrorist groups, and their operations. There's no doubt that, as Mark Ames pointed out, that there are some people in the mainstream of foreign policy making who were excusing groups like this before when they were fighting Assad, and who are now all of a sudden correctly identifying them as terrorist organizations as Turkey deploys them in their attempt to ethnically cleanse the Kurds in northern Syria. And then, of course, there's other people that want to ignore Assad's crimes against humanity as well, as so many people just continue to get Syria wrong. It's a horrifying, disturbing situation. There is a resiliency in the Rojava fighting forces, however. And then, as always, everything overlaps with the grotesque comedy of the Trump administration. And, just is what it is. So we're going to laugh at this because this letter that Trump sent to President Erdogan on October 9th is, beyond laughable. It's hysterical. It's bizarre. What's incredible is that probably a lot of people in the Trump cult will actually think that this was effective and smart. So this letter is utterly demented, and the only way to present it is in a professional reading by the finest Trump impersonator on the planet, Anthony
Atmanyuk.
We sound like him impersonating Trump when we say his last name. Antamanik. Anyways, he used to do the Trump show on Comedy Central, which was hilarious. There should have been a second season. This is him on Twitter reading Donald Trump's October 9th letter to Tayyip Erdogan.
The White House, Washington, October 9th, 2019. Whoa, jinx! His Excellency Recep Tayyip Erdogan, President of the Republic of Turkey. Anakin! Dear Mr. President, let's work out a good deal. You don't want to be responsible for slaughtering thousands of people, and I don't want to be responsible for destroying the Turkish economy. And I will. I've already given you a little sample with respect to Pastor Brunson. I have worked hard to solve some of your problems. Don't let the world down. You can make a great deal. General Muslim is willing to negotiate with you, and he is willing to make concessions that they would never have made in the past. I am confidentially conclosing a copy of his letter to me, just received. History will look upon you favorably if you get this done the right and humane way. It will look upon you forever as the devil if good things don't happen. Don't be a tough guy. Don't be a fool. I'll call you later. Sincerely, Donald Jumble Company.
Oh my God. Jesus Christ, that guy captures the absolute essence of this asshole. Now, Donald Trump portrayed the Kurds, which, by the way, multiple Republicans have, going back to Henry Kissinger in the 1970s and George H.W. Bush in the early 1990s. And when Trump portrays people, or when Trump gets rolled by someone else, he blames and is a whiny little scumbag. Here he is, clip number 2. No?
Oh, I just wanted to point out that
go ahead.
that letter was real. Some people aren't.
Oh, no, that's a real letter.
That's a real letter.
That is not satire, folks. That is a 100% real letter. That was Donald Trump's brilliant mind and diplomacy in action. Here he is.
The Turks then threw in the trash, literally.
No, the Turks, first of all, they probably had to figure out, like, all right, what's the best way to translate this? Doesn't make any sense. And then they probably sat around.
They fired 3 translators.
They fired 3 translators.
That is what it says.
Then they laughed. and enjoyed themselves. All right, here is Donald Trump blaming the Kurds. Now, again, the Kurds are a historically repressed group by multiple countries, including, of course, Turkey and the Middle East. Even and in addition to some incredibly successful, innovative politics in Rojava, if you were even just going to take it from a this U.S. centric perspective, which, by the way, of course, this action is freeing ISIS people and empowering those groups. So Donald Trump is also this is in fact a huge threat to global security. How he's done this, but if you were to take that narrow view, of like, I don't care anything else, I just care about how they fought ISIS. No one has fought ISIS more effectively than the Kurds in northern Syria. By the way, Turkish government was meeting with forces from the YPG up until 2015. So when they lie and say that they're exactly the same thing as the PKK, they're lying. Here is Donald Trump trashing the Kurdish people.
We'll see. In the meantime, our soldiers are not in harm's way, as they shouldn't be, as two countries fight over land. That has nothing to do with us. And the Kurds are much safer right now, but the Kurds know how to fight. And as I said, they're not angels. They're not angels. If you take a look, you have to go back and take a look. But they fought with us. We paid a lot of money for them to fight with us, and that's okay. They did well when they fought with us. They didn't do so well when they didn't fight with us. When I refused to allow the Americans a year and a half ago to fight with the Kurds against Iraq, I said, wait a minute. This country, stupidly, just spent a fortune on fighting for, with, around Iraq. Nobody knows how they spent it. But they spent, actually, we're in the Middle East now for $8 trillion, if you can believe that stupidity. But in Iraq, we're in for probably $5.5 trillion. So they're telling me, wait a minute, we just spent $5.5 trillion fighting in Iraq and with Iraq. And now we're supposed to spend money to fight with the Kurds against Iraq. I said, no, thank you.
No, I believe he's talking. I mean, I actually don't know exactly what the hell he's talking about. Either maybe he's talking about the Kurdish referendum in northern Iraq. Obviously, the Kurds were trying to gain independence formally, even though they have a very autonomous region in northern Iraq. That is a different political faction than the ones in northern Syria. Just so you know. Just so you know.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. But if you look at the history, there's a lot going on. Today's